Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency and your go-to source for all things audio and video. Is your church long overdue for audio and video upgrades? Call Lighthouse Streaming for a free consultation. Does your corporate or church event need audio or video production? Don't stress. Call the guys at Lighthouse Streaming. In business since 2017, Lighthouse Streaming has produced hundreds of live events and completed dozens of church and venue installations. Whatever your AV needs are, Lighthouse Streaming has you covered. Give them a call at 254-252-4206. That's 254-252-4206. Or go to lighthousestreaming.com and set up your free consultation.
Hey guys, it's Rocky and Keisha, and at Prosperity Tax Service, we're all about convenience. We get it. Life is busy. Your time is valuable. That's why we've streamlined the entire process to be as hassle-free as possible.
No more sifting through piles of paperwork or spending hours at an office. With Prosperity Tax Service, you can handle your taxes from the comfort of your own home.
Your financial data is in safe hands with us through our secure and user-friendly customer portal at prosperitytax.com. It's your one-stop shop for all things tax-related. Log in anytime, from anywhere, whether it's from your couch or on the go.
We are experienced tax professionals, well-versed in handling a variety of tax situations. Receive genuine assistance and competitive pricing from real tax professionals who've seen it all.
We're marking 2 decades as a community-based enterprise here in Waco, Texas. So call us at 254-235-5662 or log on to www.prosperitytax.com. Thanks, guys.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back into Centex Prime Time. I am your host, Jalen Gillis, getting ready to take you through the prime time topics in sports, not just in the Central Texas area, but from all around the nation. Hope everybody's doing okay out there today on this Thursday evening, Friday Eve, I guess you could say, as we're getting closer and closer to the weekend. Getting ready for a great show here today on Centex Prime Time. I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us today over on YouTube, Centex Sports Network / Centex Sports TV over on YouTube. Also, those of you checking in with us on Twitter or Instagram, wherever you're watching from. Also, Facebook. Can't leave Facebook out as well. Thank you guys for tuning in with us here today, as we've got plenty to talk about. It's All-Star Weekend coming up. All-Star Weekend this weekend. And I'm not sure if everybody's that excited about it. I still think people are talking about the Super Bowl more than they're talking about what's going on All-Star Weekend. I don't know. And we'll talk about that a little bit here today. Aaron Rodgers out as quarterback. He's gone in New York, potentially. Hasn't went anywhere yet, but the two parties have reportedly agreed to go ahead and part ways and mutually part ways with each other. So we got to talk about that. Dak Prescott has some interesting comments about the Cowboys. Not sure how the Cowboys got into this, but the Cowboys are in it. Some interesting comments about the Cowboys. We'll talk about that as well. We'll talk a little bit about the Super Bowl, how that changed some people's legacies in the NFL for the good and for the bad moving forward after the Eagles were able to pull off a blowout victory in the Super Bowl. We'll talk some NBA. I know everybody watched Kyrie last night. Steph Curry messed up my parlay, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But a lot of NBA topics to talk about. Paul George somehow scores 2 points in a game with no Embiid or Tyrese Maxey. Crazy. I don't know what's going on with old Paul George out there in Philly. Not sure if he's just too much of a West Coast guy and he's not used to the Philadelphia air or something. I don't know. Maybe it's too cold. Paul George is having his worst season. We got to talk about that. Luka plays his second game for the Lakers. Gets a plus or minus of -19. We got to talk about that. And all y'all are on social media, Instagram, all these things. I know y'all seen Bronny get out there and get a little action, a little step back action. Hit him a couple threes in there. Got to the cup, got to the free throw line. Hey, give Bronny a little time. He might be able to do something. We'll talk about that today as well. We got plenty to talk about here on Centex Primetime, folks. Like I said, lots to talk about here today. I want to start with talking about Aaron Rodgers and him being out of the Jets. Before I do that, I want to take a second to step back. Thank you guys for tuning in with us on YouTube, on Centex Sports TV or Facebook, where you're watching from. I want you to take a look at this hoodie. Black Eco is what the hoodie says. It's short for Black Economy. See, the inside of the hoodie says "Spend Within." That's what the hoodie says, to spend within. And you can it's telling you to spend within. That means spend within the community. It's Black History Month, everybody. So make sure you're going out there and supporting your local black businesses wherever you're watching from, because everywhere you're watching from, they have some local black businesses. So make sure you guys are supporting that. If you want to see where to find this hoodie, Black Eco, like I said, stands for Black Economy. You can DM me on Instagram. You see my @ down here at the bottom. If you're watching, at Jalen Gillis. You can DM me on Instagram. You can DM the Centex page on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, wherever. If you want to try to get some of this merch, Black Eco, Black Economy, spend within, man. It's Black History Month. Y'all make sure y'all support your local black businesses wherever you're watching from. Joining us here on the show today for a little conversation as we get ready to jump into some of these topics. Got a familiar face here on the show, PJ Gaither, joining in with me. PJ, what's going on?
Man, I'm doing pretty good, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sounds good. So we're going to get right to it. I want to start with talking about a little bit about this Aaron Rodgers news, man. Aaron Rodgers is reportedly out as quarterback in New York. Aaron Glenn, his first decision, I guess, to be made as head coach is saying, hey, I'll try it with whoever we got out here. I'm cool on Aaron Rodgers most likely because of the antics. People will say because of the play, but honestly, it's not too many quarterbacks that played better than Aaron Rodgers last year. Last year was probably Aaron Rodgers' worst year we've seen him have. But it's about all the other things, the off the field, the on the field, the underminement, the potential of getting your coach fired. And like I said on the show earlier this week, I think 30% of black head coaches in the last 15 years, 20 years, have been fired after 1 year. So Aaron Glenn is trying to keep his job, man. He's not going to go in here and let Aaron Rodgers dictate the terms. I'm going to dictate the terms. Whether I get fired or not, I'll let that be on me. I'm not going to leave that up to somebody else. And so I can respect it. I get where Aaron Glenn is coming from in saying that. PJ, what's your thoughts when you see the news of Aaron Rodgers potentially being done in New York?
It's not really a surprise to me. I mean, he's been there for 2 seasons now, and this project that they, was trying to sell people on really failed in the last 2 seasons. One wasn't really his fault. I mean, you get hurt, that happens. But this year you see he plays pretty much a full season, or I think a full season, and the stats just showed that it was terrible. They not clicking, and if you're a young Jets team, which a lot of the guys on their team is very young and promising, you're going to have to move on from someone who's really on his way out the league. I think that before I will allow them to trade me, I would probably just go ahead and retire. I don't see any other team that's going to really be wanting to pick him up and that's really going to be able to sell to their fan base that, hey, we get Aaron Rodgers, we're going to be not even just a championship contender, but a playoff contender at this point in his career. And it happens, man. We've seen a lot of quarterbacks. I really don't like when these dudes be going out sad like this, because their careers be way too great for it to end in this way. But a lot of times, guys got to know when to go ahead and hang it up. I think he's at the point in his career right now that there's really nothing else that he can really do. He's already cemented himself as a legend, you know what I mean? So if I was him, I would just go ahead and retire before I let them trade me to a random team, you know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense. But as far as like with Aaron Glenn making that decision, that's a great decision. I don't necessarily know. I mean, no one knows. I'm sure he probably sees who he probably won in the draft, but nobody really knows what he's going to do. But this is great. I mean, they're a young team, man. They're a young team, so you might as well just get a young quarterback and try to build your team around that guy.
Yeah, I love the decision by Aaron Glenn, and it really doesn't have that much to do with Aaron Rodgers, and I get it. Like you said, he can go ahead and retire now, but Aaron Rodgers can still help a lot of teams right now. The team just has to be built. The days of Aaron Rodgers just sticking him out there and he can build a team around him, now those days are over with. But I just watched Russell Wilson play quarterback in the league this year. I just watched Kirk Cousins play quarterback in the league this year. It's still an opportunity out there for Aaron Rodgers if he wants to play. I look at teams like the Tennessee Titans who figured, hey, they might just be a quarterback away. And from the reports, they're not liking this QB class that's coming out. They're not that big of fans of Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders or Quinn Ewers or Milroe, whoever you see in the top 5 of quarterbacks. They're not that big of fans of guys. So do they go and get a Rodgers? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. I don't even know if Rodgers is going to help out a team. I think he can still help a team, but it depends where he goes. If Aaron Rodgers goes to the Cleveland Browns, he's not going to help them out because the Cleveland Browns stink. So it's not going to matter who goes out there and plays quarterback. Certain teams, it's not really going to matter. Now, last season was obviously his worst season that he's had since he's been a pro. He's got a Hall of Fame career, first ballot Hall of Fame whenever he does decide to retire. He's a 4-time MVP, a Super Bowl champion. He's done multiple things in this league, great things in this league already. So I'm not shocked about that, if he does decide to retire. But I feel like Rodgers thinks he's still got something in the tank, man. He still thinks he's got something he can offer somebody. Like I said, for Aaron Glenn, I love it because this got to be your team. You got to set the precedent from day one. Hey, man, this is my team. I'm the head coach. We're not doing no extra stuff. I'm going to take my own private jet. I'm going to get on Pat McAfee every Tuesday. You would think since I have a podcast that I will be more loving of these guys' podcasts. And I love Pat McAfee podcasts. My thing is the guys that are going on it in mid-season. That's the part I don't love because they're saying too much. We watched Brandon Graham almost blow his whole team up, and they won the Super Bowl. He almost blew his whole team up trying to get on the podcast and say too much. So, maybe he doesn't want to deal with all that, and I understand that. Where do they go from quarterback? I don't know. The safety for the Pittsburgh Steelers, DeAndre Elliott, I remember him because I'm pretty sure he went to Texas a few years back. He is a safety for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He says, keep him in that retirement home. We don't want him over here. Talking about Aaron Rodgers coming over to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know how to feel about that because I get it. You're saying, hey, we're competitors out there, and maybe he likes their quarterback room. But, Elliott, you're not the guy to say that, bro. And the Steelers are in no position to be turning down anybody at quarterback. You just had Russell Wilson playing quarterback, and I told y'all that little magic he had a couple games was going to run out. And you see it ran out fast, and they lost their last 6 games of the season, including the playoffs. So you're in no position, nor is anybody on the Steelers besides Mike Tomlin in a position to say, nah, we cool on you a quarterback. We don't want you a quarterback. I don't think you should be saying that at all. Who is going to be the Steelers quarterback? I seen Ryan Clark, or it was one of them guys on ESPN saying right now he would rather have Justin Fields than Aaron Rodgers. I said, see, these guys are taking it too far. They take stuff too far. You can say Rodgers had his worst season. You can say he needs to retire. You can say the Jets don't want him. Saying Justin Fields is better than Aaron Rodgers is crazy. I'm not going to agree with that even in the slightest. And I like Justin Fields. I think in the right situation he can be good. But come on, guys. Let's not take it too far. Go ahead.
I'm not saying that I think the days of Aaron Rodgers being a top 5 quarterback in the league is over.
Facts.
Honestly, depending on how he looks next year, depending on what team he goes to, he might not even be in the top 10 anymore. But you got to keep him in the top 15, though. But
yeah,
he's way better than Justin Fields. They got to stop with the disrespect. They be pushing it a little too far. I know the dude and had one bad season. He was hurt the year before, but he not sorry.
Exactly. That's all I'm trying to say.
He's far from sorry. You're that's crazy to say, man. We ain't seen nothing from Justin Fields but a few little glimpses of what he possibly could be.
Man, they won a game with all field goals with him as the quarterback.
Yeah,
I don't score a touchdown.
That's crazy to say, man. They gotta watch their mouth, man. I didn't even like Aaron Rodgers really growing up. Seeing him seeing him beat the Cowboys so many times. But dude is a dog. He's still a dog. He's just not what he once was. Nobody can beat Father Time.
Nobody's beating Father Time. We seen it went under the radar because he's the GOAT. But we seen Brady last year. He was sorry. Like, come on, man. Like, we don't have to pretend like that didn't happen. And I'm the dude that just came on the show this week and told y'all to stop all this Patrick Mahomes GOAT talk stuff because he's below Joe Montana to me still, or tied with Joe Montana, in my opinion. Y'all was just so quick to put him above Joe. And, man, y'all making me seem like I'm the old head. Y'all the ones that are supposed to know that. Joe Montana 4-0 in the Super Bowl. No picks.
They be forgetting about Joe. I don't know how they forget about Joe.
I don't know either.
That's all I heard growing up.
Yeah, it's Joe. Joe Montana is the GOAT, and it wasn't even a debate. Tom had to win 7 of them things for them to be like, all right, let's go ahead and put Tom in front of this guy. But
early 2000s when we was coming up, it was Joe Montana.
Oh yeah, and Peyton Manning was next. Brady wasn't nowhere in the convo.
No, he wasn't even in the Brady didn't get into that convo, bro, until later. Even with him had already winning like what 2 or 3 Super Bowls. 3 Super Bowls.
He didn't get into that convo. Yeah, he didn't get in that convo until what's the name? Russell Wilson threw that pick. That's when he got in the convo.
We were still putting Peyton over him because in reality, Peyton, as far as just playing the position, being a quarterback, then I still say this to this day. Peyton Manning, there was no one better than Peyton Manning.
Bro, you don't have to be nice about it. Peyton Manning is better than Tom Brady. Tom Brady, and that's cool with me saying Tom Brady's the GOAT.
Brady had a better situation. Definitely in New England. I mean, he always had the better coach. He most times, if not all the time, had the better defense. He just was in a way better situation. And I'm not saying that those coach teams are bad because they had guys. They had Edgar and James at running back at some point. They had Joseph Adai running back at some point. They still had Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison, Dallas Clark. They had guys, but and I mean the list goes on. But overall, the New England Patriots, they just were a way better organization than what the Colts were.
I mean, that's like a given almost. I mean, it's similar to the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is great, but these last 2 or 3 Super Bowls, especially the last 2, it wasn't because Patrick Mahomes is just so great and he's just so unstoppable. The team was a machine. Patrick Mahomes the last 2 or 3 years has been average, honestly, since he won that MVP. What was that, 2 years ago?
This year he was terrible.
Yeah, like it just had a bad season. And we're starting to see that this is a machine. The Chiefs is the reason they got there. Patrick Mahomes is the reason they always got a chance to win every single game. I'm not saying that. I'm not taking nothing away. Mahomes is still Mahomes. I ain't taking nothing away from that. I'm just saying put Peyton Manning in there with Andy Reid to start his career and see what happens.
And I don't want to go on a limb and say that it's over for Pat.
Oh, no, it's definitely not over. He got another decade.
It's not over for him, but I mean, if you look at the Super Bowl, we gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. I can actually hold off on that.
Oh yeah, that's cool because that's a perfect segue because that's where we're going to next. So, like I said, Aaron Rodgers out in New York as the quarterback. We'll see where he goes. We'll have all offseason to talk about this. We know Aaron Rodgers is the drama queen, so he's gonna give us something to talk about every single offseason, and he just gave us one here now that he's gonna be out as a coach. The Super Bowl, Eagles win 40-22. PJ, you're the last one to not get a chance to comment on this week. You got to watch the game. Obviously, everybody watched it. Philadelphia Eagles completely dominated. It was 24-0 at halftime. I said when I was watching the Super Bowl, when the Eagles went down there and should have scored before they threw that bogus flag, and then they stopped, and then they came back, stopped Kansas City, and went down the field and scored on the same play, I said the game's over. They can't stop these guys. Like I was saying the whole week leading up to, keep putting Trent McDuffie in that one-on-one coverage against these guys, thinking that he's a shutdown corner. He's a lockdown. Okay. He had that one really good season, and I'm not saying it like he's sorry, but too many times this season I was watching Trent McDuffie get killed, honestly, by randoms. Mac Hollins is a special teams player. He was Mac Hollins was torturing him in the AFC Championship game. And he's a special team. He literally runs gunner on kickoff. And he had 100 yards on Trent McDuffie. So I said the whole 2 weeks leading up to, what do you think is going to happen? You put Trent McDuffie one-on-one against Smitty or A.J. Brown. That's lunch meat. So they come out there and dominate. I knew the game was going to be over. They were mismatched at every single position. And once the O-line couldn't hold up against the Eagles D-line, still mad at Nolan Smith, I ain't going to – hey, I wasn't just your biggest fan or anything like that, but I'm never gonna root for you because you blew me so much money during that Super Bowl. That's a whole nother topic. I mean, I had 5 out of 6 picks hit, and all you had to do was get a piece of a sack. They got 10 sacks. You didn't get one of them. That's a whole nother story. Eagles dominated completely. What was your thoughts, man, watching this game and just watch the Eagles dominate from start to finish?
At first, I was kind of surprised. I mean, 24-0 at halftime is insane. That's crazy to me, man. I really don't think I've seen a more dominant Super Bowl, really, because the Panthers got dominated really against the Broncos, but at some point they were still in the game.
Oh no, that game was close all the way until the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, that game was close.
Only one I could think of was I'll let you keep going. Only one I could think of was the Broncos when they played the Legion of Boom 2 years before that.
Even with that game, it was dominant. But, the Broncos still put something on the board by halftime.
Yeah.
I mean, this probably was not equal. Probably not equal. Well, yeah, no, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Bro. This was equal to the 2000 Ravens, how they did the Giants in their Super Bowl.
Yeah, if you're talking about defensive-wise, yeah.
You're talking about defensively, this was equal up to – I'm not saying that this Eagles defense is as great as that defense was, but they just did something in the Super Bowl that defense pretty much did against Tiki Barber and, that I'm talking about a Giants team who offensively was killing people that year.
Yeah.
So, this was equal up to it. I was surprised, but then as I kept watching, I really wasn't because I remember that I did say, and I think I said it on the podcast, if I'm not mistaken, I think the week before, because we was talking about how the Eagles could win the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I basically said that if they get up by a few scores, I think that they can win because it's not that I didn't even think that I did say too though, hey, they still got Patrick Mahomes, but I was like, but if you're the Eagles and you get up by 2 scores, you need to keep your foot on their neck.
And that's exactly what they did.
That's exactly what they did too. And they didn't let up at all. And what I was gonna say on the last, what I was finna say, and I stopped myself from saying, but like I said, I don't think it's over for Pat. I think Pat still got maybe a few Super Bowls still left in him. I mean, he's still pretty young, and the Chiefs ain't going nowhere. They just gonna keep on adding pieces. I'm sure they're gonna add on pieces. Definitely after this loss, they're gonna come back with a vendetta next year. Because this was a bad loss. But the blueprint might be out.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. The blueprint is out. The blueprint is out. The blueprint,
it might be out now. I don't want to just go overboard, but some of the guys on ESPN and stuff. But it might be out, man. And if they don't really fix that old line up, then this is what's going to stay out because now we know. Just like we kind of seen a glimpse when the Buccaneers beat them, but we just thought that, hey, this was a really good Buccaneers team at that time. Definitely defensively, they're a really good Buccaneers team that beat the Chiefs a few years ago. But seeing how the Eagles just did and even seeing how they played against them last year, and a game that I really thought the Eagles should be back-to-back champions. I really felt that the Eagles should have won last year. Certain calls just didn't go their way, and then Patrick Mahomes was Patrick Mahomes in certain situations and was able to, get that win. But
you talking about from 22 Super Bowl, yeah,
man, that but looking at it now, man, if you get pressure on Pat and you just let him scramble all over the place and have to throw the ball all over the place, man, you got the win. And we even seen that with the Bengals when they beat them.
Facts.
To go to the Super
Bowl. It was the same. It was almost the same thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
It wasn't as dominant, but the same plan.
Same plan. So as long as you can do that against them, then you could possibly stop this team. They don't really have any pieces. Xavier Worthy is not there yet. I think that he could possibly get there, but he's not there yet. And I honestly, and I'm a Texas fan, but I don't think that Xavier Worthy can be a piece that is.
He's not going to be a number one.
Yeah, he's not going to be a number one. He's like a Percy Harvin.
Yeah.
He's a different maker. He's a playmaker.
I get what you're saying. I would still take Percy Harvey over, but I get exactly what you're saying though.
You know what I mean? He's a guy that's dangerous, but it's like if that's who you're banking on beating us with, we're gonna win every time.
Every time.
it was crazy to me, man. To be honest, I'm a Cowboy fan to heart, but it really didn't hurt my feelings seeing the Eagles win that Super Bowl, bro. They deserved it. If you really just go back and look at the Eagles' history, bro, definitely before 2004, whenever they went to the Super Bowl, lost against Brady and them.
Mm-hmm.
Man, they hadn't been to the Super Bowl since 1980, and they lost against the Raiders that year. A really good Raiders team.
And there was a lot of good teams in between there with Randall Cunningham and those boys. It was a lot of good teams in between that time.
Yeah, they had a lot of good teams, even in 91, 92. They had really good teams in between that time. But to see them now and where they at, and we got to say, man, they're the guys in the NFC East, bro. Definitely. And since 2000, the Eagles, they are the guys right now.
For sure.
Them and the Giants. The Giants got two. And the Eagles got two since 2000.
And the reason I would put Philly above the Giants is because the Eagles got two Super Bowls.
They're relevant more.
Yeah, they're relevant more. They got two Super Bowls like the Giants, but they got like 9 NFC Championship appearances, though. Something crazy. Don't quote me on it, but I know they went to like 4 with McNabb. And then they went to a couple with Nick Foles. Jalen Hurts went to 2. So, they've been to the NFC. They've been right there multiple times. In
a lot of years.
Yeah. Yeah,
a lot of years. So they're way more relevant. I think their front office is one of the best front offices in the league. They're gonna get guys there. If they got their eyes on a guy, they're gonna get him there.
Yeah, no, that's facts. And I like and like you said about the Chiefs, they're not going anywhere. Chiefs are gonna be right there still. And just to go back to your point real quick about the Seahawks and Broncos, that one I compared it to, it was 22-0 at halftime in that Super Bowl. This one was 24-0. So that's them the only two ones I remember somebody just getting smoked. Just start to finish.
That's crazy, man. I'm proud of the Eagles, man. They did their thing out there, man. I can't be no hater. I gotta give them their props. Them dudes went out there and they did what they were supposed to do. They are the better team. They were the better team. To me, they're the better. I wouldn't just go too far and take organization because the Chiefs still have a few Super Bowls.
Yeah.
But the Eagles, you can put them now as the number 2 best organization in the NFL for sure. Behind the Chiefs, I don't see no other organization that's better than them right now.
I agree 100%. I don't see how you couldn't do that. Howie Roseman has put on a masterclass. Like I said, his only 2 mistakes, drafting wise, that I've seen is him taking Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson, which is crazy.
That was crazy.
And then him taking what was that light skinned dude had a wrestler name? I can't even think of his name. Ortega-Whiteside, JJ Ortega-Whiteside. Yeah. If anybody even remembers him, they took him over DK Metcalf. That's the only 2 ones that I was like, okay, y'all are tripping. But
shout out to Jalen Reagor, man. I remember I had to race him in a 100-meter dash. I ran a 10.66, bro. Dude ran. I ain't gonna even say he ran. He really jogged a 10.4. I was very upset.
Bro, I'm talking about wheels. Even at TCU.
It was my best time, bro, and he jogged at 10.4.
Like, that's when
felt disrespectful.
Yeah, for real. That's when you start looking around like, all right, bro, okay, what's going on here? This dude ain't supposed to be right here. Yeah, it's different levels to it. But those are the only 2 picks I can say that Howie Roseman has done a bad job on. Howie Roseman's one of the best GMs in the league, if not the best GM in the league. And this Philadelphia Eagles team, man, they just dominated from start to finish. And Kansas City, like you said, Kansas City is not done. My only thing is, one, okay, yeah, they put out a blueprint a little bit, but so did a few teams this year because, honestly, the Chiefs should have about 5 or 6 losses. They should have about 5 or 6 losses this year. And everybody was saying, they're winning. It's going to catch up. We just didn't know it was going to catch up in the Super Bowl like this. But those habits and those things that they were doing all year, that's going to catch up. If they don't correct those things, Patrick Mahomes taking care of the football. He didn't take care of the football all year. People talking about, man, he threw 2 picks in the Super Bowl. He been throwing 2 picks every game this season.
Yeah, that's been hard, yeah.
He been throwing picks all season long. Y'all ain't been paying attention. Y'all just look at the wins and loss columns and not looking at the film. Yeah, the tape shows Mahomes played like this all year.
Yeah, they just now starting to watch.
Yeah, they watching because it's the Super Bowl. And I didn't know Mahomes played like this. Last time I watched him was last year's Super Bowl. Like, nah, bro, he been playing like this all year long. So those things are going to catch up. Only thing that gives me a little bit to pump the brakes on the Chiefs is how much longer is Andy Reid going to coach? Andy Reid getting up there, man. Andy Reid is getting old. And he's, one health scare away or one decision away from just saying, hey, let me stop coaching. Let me stop coaching the Chiefs. And hopefully he keeps coaching, but we don't know how long he's going to coach. And I don't know, as great as Mahomes is, I don't know what Mahomes is going to look like without Andy Reid, without that play calling. Mahomes makes a lot of magical plays. But in that Buffalo game, in the AFC Championship game, man, that was just perfect play calling. They called the perfect play every single time. Andy Reid called the perfect play every play. That's the reason that they won the Super Bowl against Philly last time, because Jalen Hurts outplayed Patrick Mahomes, and I already said it earlier this week. This is 2 games now that Jalen Hurts has outplayed Patrick Mahomes. This year's Super Bowl and the last time they met in the Super Bowl in 2022. Only reason Jalen Hurts didn't win that one is because Mahomes got the ball with 6 minutes left, and they never gave Philly the ball back. That's why they won. It ain't like Jalen Hurts got his chance and they went back and forth. No, Mahomes just got the ball last and didn't give it back none, because we don't know what was going to happen. Jalen Hurts was playing out of his mind in that game. So I got to definitely shout out the Eagles, man. Shout out to Jalen Hurts, a Texas dude. Dude has been through a lot. Yeah, you can't root against Jalen Hurts. Even if you hate the Eagles, even if you hate whoever on the Eagles, you hate Nick Sirianni, you just a hater if you root against Jalen Hurts, man. This dude has been they tried to bury him, but like old boy said, you can't bury what comes from the dirt. Jalen Hurts has worked his way all the way up from a 3-star, getting a chance at Bama, when a lot of people said, man, who is this guy? Why are they even playing him? Takes him to a national championship. They benched him. Goes to the national championship next year. They have to unbench him because Tua starts playing bad and starts getting hurt. So Jalen Hurts got to come in and say today. Then he goes to Oklahoma, Heisman runner-up. Then he goes to the NFL, second-round pick. A lot of people said, why are they drafting this dude in the second round? And they got themselves a franchise quarterback. I said on the show on Monday, I got Hurts as a top 10 QB. A lot of people saying, oh, man, he's still sorry. But we got to stop being so enamored with stats. This guy's a winner. He does winning things. He makes winning plays. Is he ever going to throw for 4,000 or 5,000 yards? No. I don't ever think Jalen Hurts is going to do that. But maybe that's just not his game. Maybe he's not going to be that guy. That wasn't Ben Roethlisberger's game. We gave Roethlisberger all the flowers. Roethlisberger didn't start throwing for 300-400 and all that stuff until the end of his career, when he was losing with Le'Veon Bell and with Antonio Brown. That's when he started throwing for 4,000 yards, 5,000 yards. We didn't take that away from Roethlisberger. Why we got to take it away from Hurts?
Yeah, that receiver. He had Antonio Brown, who
and a lot of that wasn't even nothing to do with him. He giving the ball to AB, one of the best receivers to ever put on cleats.
His prime is top 5.
Oh man, I think he's a top 5 receiver. It's tough. Receivers are so tough. He's right there for top 5 receiver though, in my opinion.
Most definitely top 5. If they even say anything other than that, they're just hating on him and they're looking at off the field antics that really didn't start happening until the dude really pretty much got out the league.
That didn't start happening until Vontaze Burfict knocked his block off.
It
turned him into another boy.
He never really heard anything. Like we heard a little bit of stuff going on in the locker room, but you didn't really heard too much. Like he was still dominating even after. That's really when his career really took off even more after the Vontaze Burfict hit.
Yeah. That dude went over 1,000 yards for 6 seasons in a row. And a lot of those was 1,500 yards, 1,700 yards, 1,800 yards in 2015 with 10 touchdowns. Crazy work. 1,200 yards, 1,500 yards, 1,300 yards. Man, Antonio, and they better put some respect on AB. I know y'all see the crazy stuff and he tweet crazy stuff and all that. I don't care what he do now.
I don't care what he do.
Y'all know football's a dangerous game. Y'all know the CTE is a real thing. I'm talking about him playing football. I ain't talking about none of the other stuff.
And we seen that guy work hard. Speaking of Jalen Hurts, we seen him work hard just like we seen Jalen. And his story even more compelling, I feel like, just because dude, he went to Central Michigan.
Yeah, AB, he had to go to Central Michigan. 6th-round pick.
Yeah, he's 6th round. Nobody expected him to be that good. And nobody expected him to be good at all.
No, not if you're a 6th-round pick. Nobody expects anything from you if you're a 6th-round pick. You might not make the roster your first year. You might go be on practice squad.
Now you see this dude on Ocho Cinco YouTube videos working out in South Florida with Andre Johnson,
Santana Moss.
Santana Moss. And he's the only one that's really unknown. We looking at who is that?
Going crazy. And Andre Johnson said after that day that got filmed, after that workout, he went to the Texans owner and was like, hey, man, I think we need to look at this dude coming out of Central Michigan. We probably can get him in the late round, but we need to look at this guy because I don't know who he is, but he is nice. And Andre Johnson, one of the GOATs. We seen him getting into the Hall of Fame.
Man, Yeah,
So if he's saying that, that's a lot. That's a lot of praise if it's coming from a guy like that.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely no AB slander here. If you want to talk about off the field stuff, that's cool. You say whatever you want. I ain't got nothing to do with off the field. I'm just talking about what he did when he was in that black and yellow for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Dude was unstoppable. He was unstoppable in Tampa Bay. He was the third option.
He won a Super Bowl with him.
Won a Super Bowl with him, and they couldn't do nothing with him.
They couldn't do nothing with him.
Like, it was super easy. They were like, "Oh, AB scores 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl. What did y'all thought somebody was gonna guard him, and he's the third option?"
And I think that's why he don't care, man. You see how he lives. He don't care, man. He got Super Bowls. He's a legend. He might not ever be in the Hall of Fame. Maybe he might take decades.
I hate that they're gonna do that to him because this dude should be first ballot. But
they're gonna do it to him. They're gonna do it. They bogus like that. Ocho Cinco supposed to be in there.
If they did what they did to T.O., I don't expect them to give anybody that doesn't fit their mold a chance of making the NFL. T.O. got better stats than everybody that's ever put on cleats that plays receiver outside of Jerry Rice and Randy Moss. And it took him 7 years to get into the NFL Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it's only them two. I don't understand how they can look at T.O. and not put him in there. It's crazy to me that he didn't make it this year either. Or he made it in his very last year of eligibility. It took him 7 years. He ended up making it a few years ago, yeah. It's just crazy that it took that long, though, bro, because it's T.O. When we was growing up, it was T.O. or Mouse. It was T.O. or Mouse.
And he got some stats that's better than both of them.
That's better. So I don't.
And if it took him that long to put him in there, I don't have no hope for Antonio Brown. But Antonio Brown should be first ballot. Who else that y'all gonna pull up that look like that in that 6-year run? Who else? Sure. Who else looks like that?
There's no other receivers, man. They putting receivers from the 80s. I put receivers from the 80s. And 70s,
like, come on, man. I don't want to hear nothing about Bullet Bob Hayes. I don't want to hear nothing about them guys, man. Stop that.
They putting them dudes up in there, man. Them dudes only probably had 12 receptions the entire season.
A 5-catch game is cold for them.
Yeah.
AB got 2 seasons back-to-back where he caught 130 catches.
Come on, man.
Like, what? And it would have been 8 seasons in a row of 1,000 yards, but he got hurt in 2012.
Yeah.
It's because in 2011, he only got 69 catches and still went over 1,000 yards.
That's insane.
He only got 69 catches. He was the third option because they had Mike Wallace and Emmanuel Sanders. In 2011, he was the third option and went for 1,000.
Yep. Mike Wallace was supposed to be that guy. He still was, but
he was coming out of college. Him and what was the other super fast dude? He ended up being a bust for real though. Darius Hayward Bay. Them two when they came out, they were so fast. Everybody was like, "Oh, they both gonna be unstoppable." Yeah. But yeah, he's AB man. He definitely got to get his love getting into there. Shout out to the Eagles. Like I said, they finally go out there, get it done. Jalen Hurts on the mountaintop and gets that Super Bowl MVP, which is well deserving because he was the best player in that Super Bowl, just straight up and down. He did it with his legs, he did it with his arms. He took advantage of the different matchups. He used his mind. He wasn't turning the ball over. He had that one turnover. That was a dumb play, but outside of that, he played a almost perfect game.
That dude did everything for them to win that game. I can't do nothing but praise him. You got to put him in top 10. I'll probably have him like around number 8, number 7.
Yeah. That's what I said. He's somewhere in there. I said on Monday originally, I said top 5 quarterbacks, but then Wayne and Rocky was like, nah, you tripping. Don't put him in 5. My only thing is the only 4 that we know that can't be moved and that we know for a factor in front of him, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. Everybody else is up for debate.
Yeah, it's up for debate.
So you could put other guys in that 5th spot, and I'm not going to be mad at that, but it's still going to be a debate. He got a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, I would still put Matthew Stafford.
And that's who I put as my 5 before the Super Bowl even started. We did top 5 quarterbacks, and I put Matt at my number 5.
He most definitely could be 6, though. He could be 6 or 7.
He right there. It's the debate. You want to put Jared Goff? You watch Jared Goff throw 100 picks in the playoffs. You want to put Herbert in there? We just watched Herbert throw 100 picks in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it ain't too many people. I don't even want to say Dak because we're about to talk about him next. I don't even want to say Dak in there. I mean, It ain't quarterbacks not just growing on trees if they ain't noticed.
That's just rolling. That's just rolling straight into that.
Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead into that. Shout out Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles for winning. To another NFC East team, your Dallas Cowboys, as Rocky likes to say every time he's on here, America's team. Shout out Rock. We're gonna call him that for today. America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. They got a quarterback named Dak Prescott. He's at a charity event and is asked a question. So I will give him the benefit of the doubt because he was asked the question. I'll give him some benefit of the doubt because they asked him about the Eagles, and he had to respond. I get that. What I don't give him the benefit of doubt of is his response. Dak says the Cowboys are very close to winning a Super Bowl. Says go check the tape. Look at how we played the Eagles. Most of the time we're beating them. Next year is going to be our year. Shout out to them. They won. But next year, it's time for us to go and win it all. You take it away from the charity event, Dak. Let's let this be about charity. You could have just said, hey, shout out the Eagles. They won. But we here for, I think it was cancer research or something like that for young children. Why don't you just talk about that, bro? Why did you have to ruin everything by even mentioning the Cowboys and the Eagles? This man said check the tape. What tape are we checking?
What tape?
Why don't we look at your tape against New Orleans this year? Why don't we look at your tape against Baltimore this year? Against a few teams, because everybody going to say, and I knew they was going to do it. I said it when we was halfway through the season. Man, we won 7 games without Dak. If Dak was there, we would have. Dak was losing. All the games that they won with Dak or lost without Dak, they would have lost those with Dak. He was currently losing. This man said go check the tape. PJ, what's your thoughts on what Dak had to say about the Cowboys being very close?
I think Dak bogus. He bogus just like our owner. I hate that our players never fail to say, but like they never fail to just show just how stupid. Like we be saying the dumbest stuff, bro. Like even our owners, I feel like that they're feeding way too much into Jerry, and the stuff that he be saying. I don't really understand how you could sit here and say that next year is our year whenever next year is the roster is possibly going to be worse than the roster this year. We don't have any money to get anybody because we paid you, Dak. We paid you all the money. So we really don't have any money to go get anyone. So what makes you think that next year roster is going to be even better to the point to where we'll actually be a championship contender? We didn't even make the playoffs this year. And how it looks going into next year, we might not even make the playoffs next year as well because we have a whole new coaching staff who's going to have to implement everything that they like to do into a team who hasn't had to worry about a new coach for a few years now.
Yep.
And so that the defense is going to change, the offense about to change, even the special teams is about to change. Everything's about to change because we have pretty much a whole new coaching staff. We're going to have new players that are going to possibly come because we don't have enough money to keep certain guys. There's going to be certain guys. The offseason is still early. There's going to be few guys that we'll possibly have to give up because we're not going to have enough money to pay them guys. Or, I don't know, man. It's stupid for him to say that. Actually, I do know. Actually, it's stupid. I already know what we're going to look like next year. I already been saying that we're going to be bad for the next 4 to 5 years. Definitely after we pay Dak because we just put ourselves into a hole. You can't get better just from the draft. You got to get better through free agency and the draft as well because you can't put all this pressure on guys coming into the league in their first year. There's not a lot of guys who can come into the league and just make a difference immediately and take a team and make them a contender, a team that didn't make the playoffs. This is a process that's going to take a few years. And honestly, in this process, I feel like in these next few years, while he's talking, Dak might be one of the guys that's going to be going real soon because you don't get better. You don't get better in year 10. You don't get better in year 9. You don't get better in those years. You only get better in those years unless you're a great who sees that, okay, well, now I no longer have certain athletic abilities that I possibly had whenever I was younger. So now I got to utilize more of my mind and me knowing the game more because I'm older to my best abilities rather than just utilizing my athletics. He's not that guy, though. So that's not going to happen with Dak. Dak is only going to decline, and he's going to be coming off a season that he just tore his hamstring off the ischial tube. If you know where the ischial tube is, then you know that that's not something easy that for him to just come back from. A torn hamstring is not easy, period. That done ended people's whole careers before.
For somebody that already wasn't mobile.
Yeah, he already wasn't mobile. So like now he's really not gonna be mobile. We seeing a lot of guys from that have left our teams that every time, man, I'm talking about from coaches all the way to players, they leave and they go win Super Bowls. You know what I'm saying? Go be really. I'm talking about Pro Bowl players in different teams. We just seen Kellen Moore win a Super Bowl, and now he's the head coach.
Yep.
We just seen Dan Quinn take a Redskins team all the way to the NFC Championship game. You know, the last time that the Redskins were even in the NFC Championship game, I don't think any of us was really born yet.
I think 91. No, I wasn't born
91
yet.
Won a Super Bowl. They won a Super Bowl that year. Like, come on, man. This is stupid, bro. I don't. Yeah.
I don't get what because I mean you made probably the the best point that anyone's made since Dak said this. You got a brand new coach and a brand new coaching staff, and you were terrible last year. Who comes off getting a brand new coach, getting a new staff, going to have to get some new players in there, coming off an injury and says, "Yep, Super Bowl favorites next year. Next year is all year." Who says that? What that part of it all doesn't make sense.
Only a Dallas Cowboy player say it, bro.
And you didn't have to say anything about the Cowboys. They just asked you about the Eagles. You could have said, hey, we can't wait to play them next year. You could have said anything like that. Not, now it's our turn. Bro, look how long the Eagles been building what they have right now, and they just not winning.
Yeah, they just not winning. You think in year one with a whole new coaching staff, we don't have a number 2 receiver. We don't have running backs. I don't care. Rico Dowdle, they paid him and everything. He's not a starter.
Oh, no.
He's a backup. He's barely a backup.
I mean, at best, he's barely a backup.
He's a third-string running back like he once was. A third-string running back will look good if they get all the carries.
Yeah,
because that's all that a team has. He's a third-string. I'm gonna stand on it. He's a third-string running back who just happens to be in a situation that he has to play as a starter now because we don't have nobody. Trust me, if we had somebody better than, let him get traded to another team. I bet he won't even be the second.
Bro, they wouldn't trade an 8th round pick. It ain't even 8 rounds in the NFL draft. They wouldn't trade an 8th round pick for Rico Dowdle.
And that's disrespect to Rico Dowdle. I think he's an awesome player. He gives great effort. Even when he was a third-string running back, I used to love seeing him come into the game because he runs hard. But he's not. If you're going to be a starting running back in the league, you got to have something about you that stands out. There's something about you that stands out from everybody else. Because on one roster, it might be 5 running backs. 2 of them going to be on the practice squad. The other 3 are going to be on the main roster. And every day you got to show something. Every game you got to show something. Every preseason game, every regular season game, if y'all make it to the playoffs, you have to show something, though, every day that makes you the difference maker on the team. And you got to show that that's the reason why you're the starter. I don't know what he does, in that aspect, but I'm just saying on the field, he does not have that spark that makes him deserve to be, well, not even deserve, but makes him the number 1 running back. We just don't have no guys. And now we're going to have to go into the draft. I don't know who we're going to get. I've been hearing about Ashton Jeanty, but I don't think that's going to happen because the Dallas Cowboys don't do flashy things. We don't do flashy things. And the only time that we do flashy things is when we feel like that our back is against the wall. But it never works out.
Yeah, and this running back class is too deep to take Ashton Jeanty. Like we've talked about on here before. It's at minimum 10 good running backs coming out this year. That's minimum.
Me and 20 running backs one night, bro.
Yeah, that's like I was talking about at the bare minimum, it's 10 running backs that can start in the NFL next year. but it's probably 15, closer to 20 backs that can come in and make a difference this year. One of the most loaded running back classes I've seen in a long time, if not ever, and since I've been paying attention to the draft. So hopefully they don't get tricked into the Genty thing. But, it's Jerry Jones, and you never know with that guy. We don't know what to expect from them. They're picking at 12. A lot of good players that they'll be able to get at that. But if the Eagles have showed you anything, I think you should just go for best available. The Eagles have gotten so good because they weren't drafting for need. That's what got the Cowboys in trouble last year. Oh, we need a left tackle to replace Tyron Smith. Well, ain't no good left tackles right here. We're just going to pick somebody anyway. Tyler Guyton. That's what happens when you just start picking for need just because. You're just going to pick a random guy. You should just pick, when you're trying to build like the Cowboys are trying to do, you should just pick best available. Who is the best player on the board right now that could come in here? And in the top 20, there's going to be a lot of good guys coming out. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to get a Will Campbell from LSU, take a tackle and try to build those trenches. But it's a lot of good dudes coming out on both sides of the ball, defense and offense, especially D-line this year too. In the top 15, it's a lot of good guys you can get on the D-line. I seen Mason Graham has been climbing the ranking boards for a lot of people, the D tackle out of Michigan. Abdul Carter going to be gone. So he might be the number one pick. Like I said, the Tennessee Titans and other teams in the top 3 aren't sold on this quarterback class coming out. So Abdul Carter might be the number one pick, and I wouldn't be mad if he is. Abdul Carter's a monster. I think he's the reason Penn State had any success this year, him and them running backs. I know it had nothing to do with Drew Aller. So I don't know where the Cowboys go from here as far as their pick. But Dak, just don't say nothing. You didn't have to say anything. Like you literally didn't have to say anything about, oh, we're going to be there next year, we're going to do this. Just stop it, man. Next time they ask you about it, change the subject. Talk about something else. Talk about one of your random endorsements. You can get some extra money from them. Kellen Moore, as you just brought up, now the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. We saw Dan Quinn leave, get out of the Cowboys building, and he took a team from the number 2 pick all the way to the NFC Championship game, which is crazy, especially for a franchise like the Commanders that haven't done anything, like you just named, PJ, since '91. That's 30-plus years. They haven't done anything. No, not even an NFC Championship appearance. Barely any playoff wins. Now Kellen Moore, another guy that was right there with the Cowboys, leaves the Cowboys, goes to Philly, wins the Super Bowl, heads over to New Orleans, which is a tough job. I get it. You don't know how many chances you'll get at being a head coach, if ever get a chance to be a head coach. The New Orleans Saints is a terrible job. It's the reason why it was the last job open, because nobody wanted to take it.
Nobody want to go.
They're $20-30 million over the cap. They got a bunch of old players under contract and not enough young players and no quarterback. So it's a reason that no one, as bad as some of these other jobs are, it's the reason nobody took that New Orleans job. But Kellen Moore gets a chance to head out there. Already reports that he's not sold on Derek Carr being his quarterback. Now, I would just think it's funny that if he does decide to get rid of Derek Carr, because when they were both in college and they played against each other, Derek Carr was at Fresno State, Kellen was at Boise. Kellen Moore used to flush Derek Carr, and they used to always talk about them as 2 quarterback prospects coming out, and Derek Carr was better. Man, if y'all don't know, you should. Go back and look at some of Kellen Moore highlights in college at Boise State. Dude was a problem. He's the reason I knew who Boise State was. They were a problem. Like, he was putting up 400 or 500 yards, like, routinely. Like, that was nothing for him to be able to do that. But I just thought that would be funny if he ends up getting rid of Derek Carr. But what do you think about Kellen Moore heading out to New Orleans and taking on this task? Because that's what it is, of trying to turn around the New Orleans Saints.
New Orleans, that's my secondary team. So it's been an awful year for me as far as for the NFL. Both my teams just garbage, man. With New Orleans, though, nobody was sold when Derek Carr. Actually, people were so mad in New Orleans, I thought that they was going to protest whenever Derek Carr first came, man. Nobody wanted Derek Carr. Nobody. No Saints fan wanted Derek Carr at quarterback. But, I mean, it really wasn't no one else that they could get. I'm glad that he's coming in and from day one noticing that Derek Carr just isn't. He's just not a good quarterback. He's not a good quarterback. He's not going to get your team over the hump. I think that with this job, I think Kellen Moore can really do a lot. It is going to be a huge project for him, just like it would be for anybody, because New Orleans is just not. As much as I say that the Dallas Cowboys probably have one of the worst front offices, I think that New Orleans possibly has a worse front office than what the Cowboys have. And it's just very hard to get anybody to go down there. It's very hard to get guys to get down there. There's nothing wrong with New Orleans. It's just
no. Sean Payton kind of messed them up a little bit. Which in his defense, they were trying to win a Super Bowl. They deferred a lot of guys' contracts to later years, deferring, and that's why Sean Payton retired and then came right back, because he knew what he did. He kept deferring the money so they could pay Drew Brees, so they could pay Michael Thomas, they could pay Cam Jordan, all those guys. And they said, we're going to push the cap back. We're going to push their money back to another year, push their money back. Well, now these are those years. So they're starting the season off $20 or $30 million over the cap already.
Over the cap. Yeah, there's nothing really that they can do now. So I think it's going to be a few years. It's going to be a process. This is not going to be something that you could just flip in 1 to 2 years. This might be a 3, 4, 5 year project where you got to keep on getting guys out of there. You got to get guys out of there who these guys that's on these contracts, bro, these old guys, you got to get them out of there, bro. You got to get them out of there. I don't care how long you've been in New Orleans. We don't care about none of that. You got to go. And you got to get a younger crowd in. I hate that we have wasted Alvin Kamara's entire career.
It's over.
Wasted his career, bro. That's one of my favorite running backs, bro. We've wasted his career. It hurts my heart. Because I don't think that he's going to be able to really benefit. He's not going to be able to really reap the benefits of what this possibly could be in a few years, because he's going to already just be past his prime.
No, I hope they trade AK, man. He's definitely one of the best. I hope they trade AK and he can get a chance to go somewhere. I hope he don't go to the Chiefs. That just seems like where he would end up at, and that's going to be a cheat code if he end up in Kansas City. Man. But I do hope that he gets traded, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so go ahead.
I think it's a good pick, man. I'm happy to see it. I think that it's going to be really good. I don't think anybody should be upset or, mad about this. I mean, who else you gonna go get? We just seen this guy win a Super Bowl a few days ago, so this was a really good pick.
Yeah, I like Kellen Moore going out there, man. Hopefully he can turn it around, but he's definitely got his hands full trying to turn around that organization, because that's tough. Like you said, those old guys, you got to get them out of there. Y'all put in your work in New Orleans. Not a bad thing. Just everything comes to an end at some point. DeMario Davis, you got to go, man. I didn't even know he was still in. I ain't looked up and he was still in the league and getting paid. Man, DeMario got to be 35 plus. Him and Cam Jordan. That's what I was gonna say next. Cam Jordan, 35 plus.
I thought Cam Jordan 40.
Yeah, I mean he might be. Cam Jordan been in the league a long time. So guys like that, they gotta go. Y'all got rid of Marshawn Lattimore. I'm like, okay, I get it. How them other guys wasn't on the trade block? Did nobody want them, or like did y'all just couldn't find no way to get rid of them? I would have tried to trade them dudes.
That's what I'm saying.
But yeah, he got his hands full with that in New Orleans. Folks, we gotta take a break. Come back for the top of the hour. When we come back, we gotta talk some NBA. It's All-Star Weekend in the NBA. We gotta talk about whether you're gonna watch or not watch. I'm not convinced if I'm gonna watch or not watch myself. We'll talk about some topics going on in the NBA. We'll talk about KD and the Suns drama. We'll talk about Kyrie and his game against the Warriors last night. We'll talk about the Thunder coming back on and beating Miami. And we'll talk about a couple of these other games as well. So stay tuned and stay locked in right here on Centex Primetime. We're going to be right back after this short break.
Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency and your go-to source for all things audio and video. Is your church long overdue for audio and video upgrades? Call Lighthouse Streaming for a free consultation. Does your corporate or church event need audio or video production? Don't stress. Call the guys at Lighthouse Streaming. In business since 2017, Lighthouse Streaming has produced hundreds of live events and completed dozens of church and venue installations. Whatever your AV needs are, Lighthouse Streaming has you covered. Give them a call at 254-252-4206. That's 254-252-4206. Or go to lighthousestreaming.com and set up your free consultation.
NSJ Event Co., one of the premier event designers in Central Texas and a Centex Sports Network supporter. Voted Waco Awards Event Planner of the Year 2021, NSJ Event Co. is your go-to source for event planning. Whether it's your next baby shower, birthday bash, wedding, or retirement party, NSJ Event Co. will bring out the elegance, class, and style your event deserves. Call NSJ Event Co. at the number on the screen or scan the QR code to schedule a free consultation. NSJ Event Co., where the party lady takes care of all your event needs.
Hello?
Hey, what are you doing?
Oh, nothing, girl. Trying to decide where I'm gonna find a birthday gift for my boyfriend.
Oh, that's easy. Go over to the hat stand at 900 East Waco Drive.
What do they carry?
They carry men's urban wear, jerseys, hats. They even do custom embroidery. You could get his name on a hat.
What? Really?
Yeah, you can even get a custom birthday shirt made as well.
I'm on my way. Where did you say it was again?
900 East Waco Drive. Right there, next to the Goodwill.
Okay.
Hey guys, it's Rocky and Keisha, and at Prosperity Tax Service, we're all about convenience. We get it. Life is busy. Your time is valuable. That's why we've streamlined the entire process to be as hassle-free as possible.
No more sifting through piles of paperwork or spending hours at an office. With Prosperity Tax Service, you can handle your taxes from the comfort of your own home.
Your financial data is in safe hands with us through our secure and user-friendly customer portal at prosperitytax.com. It's your one-stop shop for all things tax-related. Log in anytime from anywhere, whether it's from your couch or on the go.
We are experienced tax professionals well-versed in handling a variety of tax situations. Receive genuine assistance and competitive pricing from real tax professionals who've seen it all.
We're marking 2 decades as a community-based enterprise here in Waco, Texas. So call us at 254-235-5662 or log on to www.prosperitytax.com. Thanks, guys.
Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency and your go-to source for all things audio and video. Is your church long overdue for audio and video upgrades? Call Lighthouse Streaming for a free consultation. Does your corporate or church event need audio or video production? Don't stress. Call the guys at Lighthouse Streaming. In business since 2017, Lighthouse Streaming has produced hundreds of live events and completed dozens of church and venue installations. Whatever your AV needs are, Lighthouse Streaming has you covered. Give them a call at 254-252-4206. That's 254-252-4206. Or go to lighthousestreaming.com and set up your free consultation.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into Centex Prime Time. I am your host, Jalen Gillis. We get ready to take you through the prime time topics in sports, not just in the Central Texas area, but from all around the nation. I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us here today. Hour number 2 up here on the show. Friday Eve, everybody out there, as we made it to the end of the week. Some of you guys working that 4-day work week. You're already off and getting headed towards your weekend. Some of y'all going in, clocking in right now or tomorrow morning, trying to get that extra Valentine's money. Happy Valentine's Day to all the ladies out there. Today, I'm not giving the dudes a happy Valentine's Day. That's not about y'all. I know y'all trying to make everything equal now with you know, all this equal stuff. Hey, Valentine's Day ain't for the dudes, man. This is a show about sports, but this should just be a given. It ain't about you. Go and get the flowers. Go and get the chocolate, whatever it is. Take her somewhere to eat, or don't take her somewhere to eat. Maybe you can cook something. Went to the barbershop earlier today. Barber said, "Hey man, you just need to cook the steak instead of going to a steakhouse." I said, "Yeah, that's his advice. I ain't he just know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna let him have that one himself. But yeah, man, do something for your significant other. And it ain't about you. Don't be saying she didn't give me no gift. Stop worrying about a gift. That's your problem. That's the problem with some of these athletes we got now, man. Dude's just soft. Why you want flowers on Valentine's now? I don't know what's going on with some of these guys, man. It's, Go back to old school generations where dude was laying brick or something, building railroads with their bare hands. Y'all out here tripping, man. But this ain't a relationship advice show. I'm just saying happy Valentine's, and it's to the ladies only. I ain't shouting out happy Valentine's to no big old rusty dude. We talking about sports on here. We're not going to sit up and talk about how should we exchange gifts for Valentine's Day. Don't worry about the gift. That's your problem right there to start. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Here on Centex Primetime, last show of the week. Here in hour number 2, we just got done wrapping up talking about Jalen Hurts and the Super Bowl MVP. Got done talking about Dak Prescott and his delusional ways as he continues to make the Cowboys look crazy by saying some more crazy things. Not sure why he keeps doing that, but hey, that's his MO, like most of the Cowboys fans. Just got done talking about Kellen Moore becoming the head coach out there in New Orleans, taking over the job as the New Orleans head coach, New Orleans Saints head coach. Got some quick takes we got to talk about. Pennsylvania sports books lose money because of the Philadelphia Eagles winning. Now, that sounds strange. You would think, everybody in Pennsylvania is up right now because Eagles have won the Super Bowl. Not if you're a sports book, not if you're a bookie, anything like that. It wasn't up for you because Philadelphia Eagles win. Everybody in Pennsylvania is betting on the Eagles. At least everybody outside of the Pittsburgh city limits is betting on Philadelphia. So if they win, that's a lot of money they got to pay out. A record $101.5 million was bet on the Super Bowl just in Pennsylvania. And guess who those people were going for? The Philadelphia Eagles. So when they got to pay that out, even with the money that the sports books have made from all the other bets, people coming in making bets on the Chiefs, wherever, lost $6.5 million after the Super Bowl because of too many people betting on the Eagles. And any sports book, once somebody bets $100 million on somebody, you want them to lose because now you got a free $100 million. But the Eagles came out there and pulled off the win, and sports books about to go bankrupt out there in Pennsylvania because of that. PJ, any thoughts on these sports books losing money because the Eagles won?
Nah, they'll be all right, man. People lose money every day.
Man, they taking people's money every day. So y'all will definitely be okay.
Every day. Now it's big news that y'all done lost all this money.
Ain't big news when my parlay don't cash. But now y'all's don't cash, and you want us to feel sorry for you.
I can't show no sympathy towards that. That'll be all right.
None whatsoever. Going into this weekend is All-Star Weekend, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Some NBA news, some quick takes going on around the NBA coaching, around the NBA circles. Now, we've all seen Paul George, and it was a big deal. He signed a $200 million contract going into the offseason. We watched him pretty much get swayed to go to Philly on live television during the NBA Finals. Him and Embiid were on the panel before they became teammates, and Embiid said something about coming to Philadelphia, and Paul George, looking like the girl that never gets picked, was just cheesing from ear to ear, saying, "Oh, you talking about me? You want me to come to Philly?" And then next thing we know, he's in Philly. Since then, Paul George is having his absolute worst season that he's had since he's been in the NBA. Now, he's had worse scoring seasons, but that's when he was a rookie and barely playing minutes. Since he's been a starter and since he's been a guy, Paul George has played horrible this year. Philly's lost 5 games in a row. Philly is 20-34. They're 14 games under 500. They've dealt with injuries from Joel Embiid, from Paul George, Tyrese Maxey. Paul George making $50 million a year. $50 million per year is what Paul George is making. He's averaging, in 35 games this season, he's averaging 32 minutes a game. He's averaging 16 points a game right now. 16. And he's getting paid $200 million. Last night, Philadelphia plays without Tyrese Maxey. They play without Joel Embiid against the Brooklyn Nets, who are one of the worst teams in the NBA. One of the teams that have a worse record than Philly. Now tied record with Philly, matter of fact. They lost to Brooklyn. Not only did they lose the game, Joel Embiid didn't play. Tyrese Maxey didn't play. Paul George is the only star out there. Paul George scores 2 points in 37 minutes of play. That is what you call just getting cardio. You're not contributing to the game whatsoever. You could have went and got on a treadmill and got the same amount that you gave to your team that night. Not only did he score 2 points in 37 minutes, he only shot 7 times. It's not like he was 1 for 20 and he just couldn't make it. He was just missing, was like, I just ain't going to shoot no more. Only shot the ball 7 times. 5 of those 7 shots were threes. Are you even trying at this point? I don't know what's going on with Paul George. 15 points a game. See, like I said, I'm not trying to be – it doesn't even make sense for me to be biased against podcasts because what am I on right now? But these players that got these podcasts in the middle of the season, stuff just seems to not go right. You're so worried about Podcast P that you're going out here getting 2 points, all podcasts would be canceled for the rest of the season. If I was Philadelphia owner, we're going to send you home and you can podcast the rest of the year or cancel the rest of your podcast, bro. You've been playing terrible all year, but for Maxey and Embiid to not play, so you got the ball whole game, and you scored 2 points, nasty work. Nasty work. PJ, what's your thoughts about Paul George only scoring 2 points last night against the terrible Brooklyn Nets?
Yeah, he got to get it together. Averaging 16 points a game and you getting paid $200 million, that's really bad. And I think bad is honestly a disservice. That's awful. You pretty much a role player, bro. Like them role player numbers.
Yep.
You got to get it together, man. I don't know. You see, and you give guys a lot of fire whenever you play like this to go after your podcast.
Yeah.
Similar whenever Michael Parsons, we seeing them dudes lose games. The defense is getting rushed all over, but you're still on the podcast. So now guess what people going to be saying? And they have all the right to be like, oh, well, you're distracted. You're too busy trying to be on a podcast and having people on your podcast and being friends with everybody that you can't get on, get on the court or get on the field and do what you're supposed to be doing. So dude can't even, I know he hasn't said anything yet, but you can't really get mad if guys are coming after that now and being like, well, you're distracted. You always on a podcast. You're trying to be podcast P, and you can't get out here and play good at all. Getting 2 points, bro, is awful whenever you're a caliber of a player that he's supposed to be in the league. And he's nowhere near. We're not looking at him like, oh, well, you're done. It's not like a LeBron. You know what I mean? Like, even LeBron, if LeBron go out there and get 2 points, that's unacceptable.
Man, people going to start burning his jersey. He get 2 points, and he 40.
Yeah, he 40. What, PG, 35, 34?
34.
Yeah, man, that's unacceptable. So he has to get it together. It's not looking good for Philly right now at all. Because, you pay this guy this much, and then he's coming out here and he's playing like that. You get 2 points. You get 2 points in the game against the Brooklyn Nets.
They're terrible. They're literally one of the only teams that was worse than you, but now y'all got the same record.
Yeah.
You go out there and go ahead.
It's not looking that good. It's not looking good at all right now for them. It's not looking good at all for him. He's gonna have to get together. If I was him, I would honestly cancel my podcast. I wouldn't be on my podcast doing all that talking and stuff until my game starts to improve. Because you really have no reason to be on a podcast if you're playing like that and you getting 2 points against a very, very, very bad Brooklyn Nets team.
Yeah, it's completely 100% unacceptable. The Sixers as a whole are 100% unacceptable. The best thing that ever happened to Paul George, Joel Embiid, and Maxey and the Sixers is that the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Because now all the Philly fans are so happy that they forgot they have a basketball team. Because usually by now, they be burning jerseys and having picket signs outside the door. Yeah. Philly don't play for no sports. I don't care what it is. The Flyers, the Phillies, the Eagles, the Sixers, they don't play about any sports. I don't know if they got a soccer team. I think they do. They probably don't play about them either. Them dudes is not playing about that at all. So that's the best thing that ever happened to y'all is that the Eagles won the Super Bowl. They could just forget about y'all because y'all are 20-34. When you gave Paul George a $200 million contract, y'all were saying going to win a championship. You're not going to make the playoffs. I can't think of the last time I seen a team that is expected to make a title run, at least a run at trying to win the Eastern Conference. Probably not even going to make the playoffs. And the East is super weak this year. Super weak. And you're not even going to make the playoffs. That's 100% unacceptable. And a lot of that is to do with Paul George. They just gave you $200 million, bro. You got 2 points in the game. You're just getting cardio out there. I mean, that's not even making any sense at all. So hopefully Paul George tries to get that together. But I already said Philly needs to blow this whole thing up. Trade Embiid, trade everybody but Maxey. Paul George would have been on the first thing smoking to Charlotte if I was the GM in Philly. He'd have been out of here. He's playing horrible this year. Embiid is the only person with worse joints than Anthony Davis. This dude is hurt. We forgot. We act like we forgot. He started his first 3 years in the league. He didn't play a game. He was hurt. He didn't play for 3 years to start. And then he came on, and obviously he's dominant. He's one of the best players when he's playing. But then he gets hurt every single year, and right now, hurt again. So, yeah, the Sixers blow the whole thing up, man. You got the Eagles to cheer for out there. Your fans ain't going to be too mad. Just blow it up before they realize what y'all doing and start saying that y'all drawing out there in Philly and start pulling them picket signs up in front of y'all. Because Philly not playing that, man. They know what time it is out there in Philly. On the NFL Combine, Travis Hunter. Well, before I talk about Travis Hunter, one of the small news, but wasn't news to me because I've been telling y'all this the whole time. Shiloh Sanders did not receive an invite to the Combine. And some people are like, oh, here they go hating on Deion. They didn't even give Shiloh. Bro, Shiloh's not good at football, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with that, man. You played all the way through college. Most people don't play as long as you did. But it's time to either get that Sony A7 and stand over there with Bucky, or it's time to start coaching, bro. Because football's done. People are like, man, he didn't even get an invite. No. Why would he get an invite? He plays safety. He's undersized. He can't cover, and he's stiff. Like, come on, man. And he's a bad tackler. So that's just one. That's not even the news. I just seen people talking about that and was like, oh, they're hating on Deion. They do hate on Deion for a lot of stuff. This didn't have nothing to do with no hate. That has something to do with tape. Just turn the tape on. In the Combine, Travis Hunter is attending NFL Scouting Combine as a cornerback instead of going as a receiver. Now, I've been saying this since I watched Travis. Travis is amazing on both sides of the ball. I think Travis's wheelhouse is on the defensive side of the ball. Could he be I know that wide receiver makes more money, but at receiver, he's one of the guys. At corner, he can be the guy. I think he can be one of the best corners that we've seen play football. That's how highly I think of him, of Travis Hunter. When I see him on offense, he can be really good. He can get 1,000 yards every year. I just don't see him as being the guy at all times at receiver. At corner, I see him being the guy, and maybe that's why he's attending at corner. And you still going to have a package on offense, like I said. You play this guy on defense and give him some plays on offense because he's got the best hands in this whole draft for any position. So the catches that he made on either on offense or defense were absolutely ridiculous for the last couple of years. PJ, what's your thoughts on Travis Hunter attending as a corner to the Combine?
I've been saying that in the league, I would like to see him at corner than at receiver. I mean, he's locked down for sure. So it's not really a surprise to me. You know what I mean? I think it was a great choice for him. Honestly, I think he's going to really show out definitely at the Combine. I think his numbers are going to be really great once he's at the Combine. And there's a lot of good corners that's coming out this year that he's going to really fit into that class, making that class even better than what it already is. Because I think before, people wasn't really sure which one he was going to pick or if he was going to attempt to try to do both. But him coming out, with the news that he's going to be attending as a cornerback is really great. And to double back on Shiloh,
yeah,
people gotta stop thinking that everything has to do with they're hating on Deion. No, real football heads are just seeing and letting you guys know who don't really know too much about football that the kid is not that good. He was good enough to play at the D1 level and barely that, but at the same time, he's just not that good. There's a lot of other guys that played his position in college this year who are just better. Ain't nobody hating.
Exactly.
He's not good at man or zone.
You can't tackle.
He can't tackle. Yeah, he gonna probably come and launch himself into you, but he ain't gonna get the tackle. He makes bonehead plays on certain coverages to the point where it's almost like he don't know what he's doing out there.
Yeah.
You know, he's very stiff. Very, very stiff. And safeties usually are going to be more stiff when it comes to flipping their hips than corners. That's just a given because they do a lot back there. You know, you're asking them to do a lot. Sometimes with certain safeties, you're going to have them in a box, you know what I mean, because he just might be a really good run stopper or, you know, it's a lot that comes with safety. So the cornerbacks really, their main focus is the guy that's in front of them most of the time. It's going to be the receiver. The safety they got a lot that they got to kind of focus on. But he's abnormally stiff. Like there's linebackers who are looser than him.
Not for real.
You know what I mean? He is terrible. So ain't nobody hating, man. They got to stop all of that. They hate on Dion, man. The kid's just not that good. And it's okay, bro. It ain't the end of the world. He still got a chance to get on somebody's practice squad. They got another combine for guys who don't get invited. I don't think it's
and he got pro day.
Yeah, and you got pro day. So, you know, he's good. He's got to show out at the pro day and at the other combine if he want to go to that for guys who don't get invited. So he still got a lot of time, man. It's still pretty early. And like I said, for Travis Hunter, I'm very happy to see what he's going to be doing in Indianapolis for sure at the combine.
Yeah, I'm definitely ready to see Travis Hunter out there, man. I think Travis got the potential to be number one pick in this draft. People have been saying different places where he can go and all this. If you're Tennessee, you got to make a tough decision on do you want to pick or who you want to pick at that number one spot. Because the quarterbacks this year aren't just overwhelming. I think they're experienced. So you definitely somebody's going to get some gems when you get Cam Ward and when you get or when you get Shedeur Sanders. Even guys that are potential project quarterbacks like a Jackson Dart or somebody coming out, I don't think they're just terrible coming out in this year's draft. It's not a good quarterback draft, but it's a really good draft for almost every other position. So they got to really think about who they want to go with at that number one pick because I think Travis has got a great chance to be able to do that. And Shiloh, yeah, like you said, he's got pro day. He's got all this other stuff that he's going to be able to get. He's going to get a chance to walk on to some NFL team. He's going to get a chance to be an undrafted free agent for sure because his pops. He got too many connections in the league already to not get that opportunity. Will it last? I don't know. For all those reasons we already named, like his tackling and all this stuff. Then he's corner size. He's the size of a corner, but he got to play safety because he can't cover. So, I mean, it's tough whenever you're put in those positions. And the worst thing about it is he's not a young project guy. Shiloh been out of high school for a minute. So he's not a young, will take a chance on a 21-year-old kid. This dude like 24, 23, 24, 25, somewhere in there. So he's not exactly a project kid coming out. Before we go into our last break here, want to talk a little bit about the Minnesota Timberwolves. They lost last night to the Milwaukee Bucks without Giannis on the court, without Dame on the court. Mm-hmm. So you expecting Timberwolves are obviously a heavy favorite coming into this game. They lose the game by 2 points in this one. And it's really not even about losing the game. It's about this season. At the beginning of the year, I said, man, I don't know which way to go on the trade. I didn't think the trade was initially just that terrible as far as Karl Anthony Towns getting traded for Julius Randle, and they pick up DiVincenzo as well. But, man, the Timberwolves have been playing bad. They're 30-25. They're still above 500. They're not as bad as like we just talked about with the Sixers, but they're just underachieving. This is a team that was a top defensive team in the league last year. They're not that this year. Anthony Edwards has been on and off. Even last night he had 28 points, but he took 33 shots. Like, that's just bad. And then you took 33 shots. You were 10 for 33. 10 for 33 against the Bucks without their two best players, and we know the rest of the Bucks are bad. That's why the Bucks aren't that good this year. It's because the rest of the guys aren't good. Dame and Giannis have been playing like all-stars, but nobody else has, and that's their problem. And they play without those two guys, and you still lose the game when you got all your guys playing. It only hurts because Julius Randle hasn't made that big of an impact this year. And on the other side, Karl Anthony Towns might end up being in the MVP conversation if the Knicks keep winning the way that they're winning. Karl Anthony Towns is playing out of his mind. He's easily having his best season of his career since they're going over there. Now, he's lame, so I get the fact that they gave him a lame nickname like the Big Bodega. Whatever. I don't know what to even say about that. But Karl Anthony Towns has been balling out there. PJ, what do you think about the Timberwolves struggling and really Anthony Edwards struggling? Because he, the last 18 months, he went to the Western Conference Finals and all that, but he's been in the news a lot more for nothing to do with basketball. If one more of his text messages get leaked, this dude might get a case or something. He be saying some wild stuff to these females that he's had relations with, I guess the best way to be able to put it. But what do you think about Anthony Edwards struggling and the Timberwolves struggling after this trade?
Man, well, shout out to my people in Atlanta on my dad's side, because Anthony Edwards is the epitome of.
Oh man, I'm telling you,
he has no self-control, bro. He really can't help himself. I think because I mean these last few games I've seen him. He's been scoring a lot of points. He's just taking a lot of shots. I feel like he's having to take a lot of shots because the surrounding cast around him right now, they're just not.
Bad.
They're awful, and I feel like that he's trying to take too much of the lead. Which, I mean, when you're the best player on the team, you kind of gotta have to take that lead. But at the same time, I mean, there's guys that came over that were supposed to step up that I don't really feel like that they stepped up to really to the point to where I guess the Timberwolves organization expected them to be. And that's putting a lot of pressure on. And now I'm not taking anything away from him saying that not to hold him accountable, definitely, with all the shots that he's taken up. But, I think, man, that the surrounding cast really is just doing him bad right now. And he's putting too much pressure on himself. I think that he just needs to go back to how it's always been for him. Just, take the shots that that you can take, the shots that that are the best shots to take in certain situations. And if it's not there, bro, it's just not there. Don't force it, because when you force it, this is what happens, and you're put in this situation. Now, they're still able to possibly get into the playoffs, but if they're not careful, they can easily find themselves not being in the playoffs, definitely playing the way they're playing right now. And I think initially, like you said, whenever I first seen the Karl Anthony Towns trade and the Julius Randle trade, I didn't really know how to feel about it, but I wasn't just feeling that it was a bad trade. But I mean, the Knicks are they're one of the top teams right now in the league to me.
No, definitely.
And yeah, they're reaping the benefits of that trade way more than what the Timberwolves are looking like right now. That after this season, they're going to have to really make some changes, because you can't bring this same team back next year. You can't even really. This isn't even a team that I feel that you're missing a few pieces or a piece that you can be like, well, during the offseason, we're just going to add this piece on that's going to make us better. This is going to be something that you're going to have to really let go of some guys and make some changes for real going into next year, because if you don't, you're really not going to see yourself in the Western Conference Finals probably ever again.
No, I don't think they're ever going to get to the Western Conference Finals again as present constructed. As a matter of fact, I think they're going to end up losing Anthony Edwards, which is a problem for Minnesota, but it's going to be great for the league, because if you're the Hawks, hey, just pick whatever players you want. We'll trade that in 10 picks for Anthony Edwards right now. You want Trae Young? You want whoever? We'll send everybody out there to be able to get Anthony Edwards back in Atlanta. That would just be ridiculous as far as marketing. But like you said, man, he's just not playing well right now. They got a lot of changes they're going to have to make going into the offseason, because even if they make the playoffs this year, they're getting bounced in the first round. The number one move that's got to be made, why is Rudy Gobert in the NBA? Like, let's just stop playing, man. This dude got tapes of him. He's 7'1", and he's got a 5-minute reel of him missing layups. Like, if that should never happen. We watched him get taken advantage of in the playoffs. He keeps winning Defensive Players of the Year, even though he's not the best defensive player. It's got to start with him getting out of there. Anthony Edwards, before last night, He had 3 games in a row scoring 40. But the first game against Chicago, he scored 49. He was 13 to 28. Against the Rockets, he scored 41. He was 11 to 25. He scored 44 against Cleveland. He was 13 for 28. So like you said, he's getting forced to take a lot of shots because who else is going to shoot? Anthony Edwards might throw it over the backboard if you give him the ball. Rudy Gobert might throw it over the backboard. You give him the ball. So you can't give it to him. So Ant's just getting put in a tough spot right now. But shout out Anthony Edwards. Like I said, when LeBron retire, he's going to be right there for my favorite or one of my favorite players in the league once Bron get out of here, because he's definitely box office and a guy that can take over a game at any time. We got to take our last break here on the show. We're out of time. I want to thank PJ for jumping on here with me. Know he's got to get going, and we got a few minutes left here on the show. When we come back, we'll break down some more of what's going on in the NBA. We'll talk about Kyrie lighting up the Warriors last night, and we'll talk about a few other games last night and tonight that'll be played, the last game before All-Star Weekend. Stay tuned and stay locked in right here on Centex Primetime. We'll be right back after this short break.
Hey guys, it's Rocky and Keisha, and at Prosperity Tax Service, we're all about convenience. We get it. Life is busy. Your time is valuable. That's why we've streamlined the entire process to be as hassle-free as possible.
No more sifting through piles of paperwork or spending hours at an office. With Prosperity Tax Service, you can handle your taxes from the comfort of your own home.
Your financial data is in safe hands with us through our secure and user-friendly customer portal at prosperitytax.com. It's your one-stop shop for all things tax-related. Log in anytime, from anywhere, whether it's from your couch or on the go.
We are experienced tax professionals, well-versed in handling a variety of tax situations. Receive genuine assistance and competitive pricing from real tax professionals who've seen it all.
We're marking 2 decades as a community-based enterprise here in Waco, Texas. So call us at 254-235-5662 or log on to www.prosperitytax.com. Thanks, guys.
Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency and your go-to source for all things audio and video. Is your church long overdue for audio and video upgrades? Call Lighthouse Streaming for a free consultation. Does your corporate or church event need audio or video production? Don't stress. Call the guys at Lighthouse Streaming. In business since 2017, Lighthouse Streaming has produced hundreds of live events and completed dozens of church and venue installations. Whatever your AV needs are, Lighthouse Streaming has you covered. Give them a call at 254-252-4206. That's 254-252-4206. Or go to lighthousestreaming.com and set up your free consultation.
NSJ Event Co., one of the premier event designers in Central Texas and a Centex Sports Network supporter. Voted Waco Awards Event Planner of the Year 2021, NSJ Event Co. is your go-to source for event planning. Whether it's your next baby shower, birthday bash, wedding, or retirement party, NSJ Event Co. will bring out the elegance, class, and style your event deserves. Call NSJ Event Co. at the number on the screen or scan the QR code to schedule a free consultation. NSJ Event Co., where the party lady takes care of all your event needs.
Hello? Hey, what are you doing?
Oh, nothing, girl. Trying to decide where I'm gonna find a birthday gift for my boyfriend.
Oh, that's easy. Go over to the hat stand at 900 East Waco Drive.
What do they carry?
They carry men's urban wear, jerseys, hats. They even do custom embroidery. You could get his name on a hat.
What? Really?
Yeah, you can even get a custom birthday shirt made as well.
I'm on my way. Where did you say it was again?
900 East Waco Drive. Right there, next to the Goodwill.
Okay.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into Centex Prime Time here in the final home stretch of the show. Want to thank everybody for watching with us here today. Not only today, but all week long. We've had a lot of fun up here this week on Centex Primetime, getting a chance to talk about these games. We've got MCC baseball lined up this weekend. It's going to be live right here on Centex Sports Network. You'll be able to catch all the action that play at 2 o'clock on Friday 5 o'clock on Friday, and then once again at 12 p.m. on Saturday. So make sure you're tuning in for that. MCC basketball was just in action last night as both men and women's team came out with the victory over Weatherford College. If you haven't already, guys, make sure you guys are going to watch these games on Centex Sports Network that are going on. MCC, they've got two really good teams, the men and women's team doing great. Coach Kevin Gill out there coaching the men's team. He's been a phenomenal coach for years now, a real pillar in the Waco community as well. So definitely make sure you guys supporting him. And then Coach Candace Thomas, a product of Central Texas, getting a chance to coach in her second year as head coach at MCC. They're ranked number 9 in the nation. They got a squad over there, man. So make sure you guys are support your people, support your hometown guys, especially MCC and all their sports. You'll be able to watch all their sports right here on Centex Sports Network. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button as well. I want to thank you guys that are tuned in with us over on Twitter. You guys tuned in with us on Facebook as well. Thank you guys for joining with us, not only today, but all week long. Like I said, we've had a lot of fun up here on the show. Final home stretch of the show here today as we get a chance to talk about some NBA news. First off, Wendy came out with a report after the trade deadline. Obviously, everyone knows the news, and we've talked about it up here, of Kevin Durant being shopped to other teams during the trade deadline. They've obviously been trying to trade Bradley Beal for weeks now, for months now, but he's got no trade clause, and they haven't been able to do it. Kevin Durant just went over the 30,000 mark in points, career scoring points, I believe, earlier this week. Last night they lost to my Rockets. Shout out to Rockets. We finally got out the losing column. Lost 6 games in a row. Don't know what was going on, man, but we got back on track before All-Star break, and we got a game tonight. We'll talk about that a little bit later as well. But the Phoenix Suns lose last night, and, things are starting to be asked about Kevin Durant since he was getting shopped, which I think was crazy. The fact that Matt Ishbia, James Jones as the GM, and the head coach, Mike Budenholzer, would even consider trading Kevin Durant for Jimmy Butler. That don't make any sense. Even last night when the Suns lost, Kevin Durant was 15 for 22, 37 points. It's one of the most efficient scorers in NBA history, one of the best scorers in NBA history. A lot of people view him as the best. I don't, but he's definitely up there as one of the top guys, one of the top scorers of all time in the NBA. He is being shopped around on the trade block, and it is expected, according to reports, that this summer Kevin Durant is gone. Now, Kevin Durant, I believe, has a player option coming into next summer, going into next year. I believe he's got a player option on his contract, but also he could also ask for a trade, or I think the Suns are planning on trading Kevin Durant. That's what makes this crazy. They're ready to get rid of KD, which, I mean, I get it. You're losing. It's not making sense. You got 3 potential all-stars on your team, and you're not winning any games. So, obviously, you would think about moving on. But the fact that they're really considering trading this guy, and he's, in my eyes, their best player, I know they got D-Book out there, and that's who they're building around. But when you trade Kevin Durant, or Kevin Durant leaves this summer, what is your plan? Is Devin Booker going to stay around? Why would he? He's endured enough losing in Phoenix. Now, could he want to stay out there just to be loyal? Cool, he could. But I don't see why he would want to stay in Phoenix. If they lose Kevin Durant, the Phoenix Suns are going right back to being irrelevant. They're irrelevant right now. They're going right back to being post-Nash era of Phoenix, which was absolutely horrible. Their first mistake that they made was years ago when they decided to take DeAndre Ayton number 1 over Luka Doncic or Trae Young. Neither one of those made sense. I know Ayton is a big, and maybe y'all were just thinking, oh, we need a big. But Luka and Devin Booker would have been nice. Trae Young and Devin Booker would have been nice. Phoenix Suns, I don't think they know what they're doing. I thought it was bad for them to trade for Bradley Beal in general because Bradley Beal is an older, undersized 2-guard. When you have one of the best 2 guards, if not the best 2 guard in the NBA, and Devin Booker on your team already, didn't make sense. You're trying to trade Kevin Durant for Jimmy Butler? Didn't make sense. Now, reportedly, or according to reports, you're going to get off Kevin Durant this summer. I just don't see what direction the Phoenix Suns are planning on going if you get rid of Kevin Durant. For Kevin Durant, where should he want to go? I don't know. He was going to be on the Warriors last week if he didn't veto the trade. He pretty much said, like, had to step in and was like, nah, I'm not trying to go to Golden State, man. What teams could use him? Any team in the league. But where should he want to go is the bigger story. I think if Kevin Durant leaves this summer, if he opts out, it's time to go home to the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's not my first time saying it. I've been saying this for years, matter of fact. I've seen some people say the Houston Rockets. If he's going to go to a young team, he's got to go home, man. You got to go back and redo what you were supposed to do the first time, and that's win a championship with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, the Thunder can win a championship this year. Will they win it? That's left to be determined. Denver's going to be tough. The Lakers are going to be tough. Say what you want. We're getting ready to talk about the Lakers in a second. Lakers are going to be tough. Anybody that comes out the East between Boston, New York, and Cleveland are going to be tough for Oklahoma City. But they have enough to win a championship this year. If they don't, Kevin Durant should be your number one priority. You got picks. You've got some cap space. You got to go out there and make that happen. If you're Kevin Durant, you should want to go back to Oklahoma City. You've been everywhere. You've been all across the map. You've been to New York. You've been to Phoenix. You've been to Golden State. You've been to every part of the United States at this point, pretty much. Time to go back home and close this thing out, man. I would love to see Kevin Durant get a chance to go back home to Oklahoma City and to be able to help them win a championship or another championship if they're able to win this year. But the Suns, they're over with, man. You're getting off Kevin Durant. You're still stuck with Bradley Beal. Booker's probably going to ask for a trade. The Suns are over with. Suns are done, man. There's nothing. I don't see what direction the Suns are going in. And they don't know what direction they're going in. You got an old coach. You got when Kevin Durant leaves, you're gonna have an old Bradley Beal and Devin Booker. Yeah, I don't know where they go from there. But shout out KD, man. I like I said, I hope he finds his way back to Oklahoma City. That's just my pick. Now some people are gonna say New York or Cleveland or Denver. I've heard Denver being named as one of the teams. Maybe. Hey man, forget all that. They're saying the Lakers too, but let's just stop. I don't even want that to happen. That's just way too much drama. Send Kevin Durant back to Oklahoma City, or KD, opt out of your contract and go back to OKC. The Dallas Mavericks last night played the Golden State Warriors as Klay Thompson gets a chance to play against his former team in the Golden State Warriors once again. Luka is gone from the Dallas Mavericks. Anthony Davis is hurt. Majority of the Mavericks are hurt. Derek Lively, Gafford is hurt. PJ Washington's hurt. Everybody's hurt. Who's not hurt? Kyrie Irving. Kyrie puts on an absolute masterclass last night against the Golden State Warriors, playing with an undermanned squad with all those injuries that I just named you. Kyrie goes out there, goes 15 for 25, 42 points, 7 rebounds, 1 steal. Best part about all of this, no assist. Now, for most people, that's not the best part. It's the best part for me because that means you're just getting straight to it. You trying to get buckets. I'm not kicking y'all the ball. Y'all sorry. I'm not giving y'all the ball. Give me the ball. I'm still Kyrie. I still can score on anybody in this league. I'm still one of the premier point guards in this league. He went out there and proved it. Now, is that sustainable in a playoff series? I don't think so. I think Kyrie Irving has plenty left to be able to dominate in games like this again, especially with nobody else out there. He can dominate in games. I don't think it's sustainable in the playoffs, but we're not in the playoffs right now. We just want to see some good games, and that's exactly what we saw. The Warriors, Jimmy Butler, I think the experiment can work. They got to figure out rotations and figure out who's going to play and all this stuff. This Quentin Post dude and all that playing, I'm not a fan of his. I'm not a Warriors fan like that anyway, but I'm not a fan of the Quentin Post guy. I think they need to figure out something to do there. Either go small and put Draymond at the 5, which is going to get you killed. I don't know if Trace Jackson Davis is hurt or if he's just not playing. I would throw him in there. Looney, he's always a better option than Post, in my opinion, because at least Looney's got an IQ. Steph Curry had a decent game, 25 points last night, completely ruined my parlay. Steph, I get it. Going into All-Star break and all this stuff. But you didn't have to mess my parlay up, though, bro. I had easy cash sitting on the table. Nick Claxton, 18.5 points and rebounds, cash. Asura Thompson, points, rebounds, and assists, 19.5, super cash. I took Sumu from the Bulls on +1.5 turnovers, cash. Rui Hachimura, 20.5 points, rebounds, assists, cash. All of that cashed. Last player of the night playing, Steph Curry, over 27.5 points. Dude gets on a streak in the fourth quarter, gets to 25 points with like a minute left. Feeling good. I say, this is going to be easiest $500 I made all year. Steph Curry doesn't even get a shot off in the last minute. That's just the story of it. You can't win too many in a row. I think I won the night before that, matter of fact. Won some money during the Super Bowl. Hit on a parlay on Monday. Knew the streak had to be coming to an end. And it definitely did. Prospects want their money back. Similar to we were just talking about them Pennsylvania sports books losing money. I'm sure Prospects and some other places lost some money as well, too. So they getting their money back, and they got me. If you're planning on betting tonight, be careful. This is the last game before the All-Star break. We don't know who's playing and who's playing how many minutes. Before y'all go out there and just go make a quick parlay, because all the games are about to come on in about 10 minutes, do your research first. Or if you're like me, just stay out of tonight. Tonight is not the night to make to get on your parlays around the NBA, the game before All-Star break. Let's just take a break, come back, recoup. If you got money sitting in your account, let it sit. It's nothing wrong with that. Let the money sit. Don't have to be greedy. Come back out there and try again when everybody comes back. It is NBA All-Star Weekend. Is anybody excited? Because I don't see much excitement going on around the league. The dunk contest is going to be terrible. There are no good contestants in the dunk contest. I guess Matt McClung is still in it. Dunk contest is going to be terrible. They did the three-point shootout. They thought about doing it again with Steph Curry and Sabrina Ionescu, and apparently they canceled that. They don't know what to do with the All-Star game. And then this format, I'm going to watch because I'm just going to be interested to see what happens. I don't necessarily like it. This new format in the All-Star game they implemented for this year, where they picked 3 teams, Shaq, Chuck, and Kenny on TNT. NBA on TNT, the best sports show I think maybe of all time. They picked their teams, and they're going to play against each other with the All-Stars. They picked, I think, 8 players each. Man, I just don't like the format, man. I don't know what's going on, bro. It's not that hard. East versus West. Just because the dudes wasn't playing defense don't mean you got to start implementing all these random rules and doing stuff. I think the one of you just add on 30 to whatever the last score is, and the first one of that wins, that made it a little more competitive, I guess, at least in the fourth quarter. But they don't know what to do with the NBA All-Star game, and I don't blame them. I don't know what to do with the NBA All-Star game. I just know it ain't right. NBA All-Star weekend, it's trash right now because the dunk contest is at an all-time low. Now, everybody always wants to say Mike versus Dominique. That's the best one. Vince Carter versus Jason Richardson. Hey, man, let's cut it out. We know what the best dunk contest of all time was. Aaron Gordon versus Zach LaVine. No, it wasn't the star power of Michael Jordan versus Dominique. No, it wasn't the star power of Tracy McGrady and Vince Carter and Jason Richardson. But that was the best dunk contest of all time. Where are the guys like that? Why do we have Mac McClung back in the dunk contest again? I mean, I guess he won it so he can be in it. But everybody else is random. We couldn't even get Derrick Jones in the dunk contest? Like, are y'all not even trying? Or are that many people saying no to the dunk contest? Somebody let me know. Because maybe everybody's just saying no. I don't know what it is. But the dunk contest is broken. The three-point contest, nobody cared about that anyway. The Rising Stars game, I guess they took that away, and they're going to play. The Rising Stars are going to be one of the teams that play against the breakup of the 3 teams in the All-Star teams. I don't know what's going on. It's too many rules, too many new regulations. I sound like the old dude to get off my lawn guy, but just take it back to East versus West, man. It's not that tough. First, we had the NBA players doing the draft for a few years. The weird all-star jerseys. We finally get back to East and West, but then they're breaking it up into 3 teams. I don't know, man. It's too much to try to keep up with. Too many different rules. Between that and the Pro Bowl, it's absolutely terrible. I don't know what's going on with that. The Lakers lose against the Utah Jazz last night in Luka's second game as a Los Angeles Laker. They lose against the Jazz, the team that they blew out in their first game, in Luka's first game as a Laker. They lose the second game. Nobody played good. Luka in particular, minus 19 on his plus minus. He was a negative 19. Didn't play that well, but it's growing pains. I expect it. The part that's more interesting is Jackson Hayes got hurt after only 7 minutes of play, and he was really the only big they had on the team. They had to play Alex Len, who they just got off the street. Played him 22 minutes. Christian Coloco got some minutes in there as well. So they got to figure out what they're going to do at the 5 spot. They're already going to have to figure that out anyway, but now that Jackson Hayes is injured, I'm not sure how long he's going to be out. But they've got to figure something out. If the Lakers just get some serviceable play from their big man, serviceable. They don't need an all-star. They don't need any of that. Serviceable play from their big man like I think Jackson Hayes can give him. A lot of people not giving him enough chance to go out there and do something. I think Jackson Hayes can be decent for them. If they get some serviceable play, people not going to want to play the Lakers unless you're the Denver Nuggets. Now, if you're the Nuggets, yeah, you ain't trying to play the Nuggets. Lakers wasn't trying to play the Nuggets anyway, even when they had AD. But they definitely ain't trying to play him right now with with Jackson Hayes and those guys. That's just lunch meat. That's over with. But if they get some serviceable play, man, the Lakers are going to be a scary team. I got to admit, even for my Rockets, you don't want to play the Lakers. You don't want to play LeBron and Luka. If you're the Grizzlies, you should already learned your lesson last time you played against LeBron. But now they got Luka. Give Luka time to get into this system, to figure out what's going on. He just had a complete and total life change. He got traded from a team he thought he was going to be after his entire career. He's got to figure out what's going on. And as bad as he played, he still was only 6 for 13. The part I don't like is the 5 turnovers, 5 fouls, and he missed 4 free throws. That's the parts I don't like. But all of that's going to come. LeBron, Luka, Austin Reeves, that's the big 3. They find some guys to play, fill in their roles in between there, they're going to be all right. At least I think they'll be fine. Oklahoma City Thunder came back last night against the Miami Heat. Now, the Heat, I'm actually interested. Those are one of those teams that I'm going to be keeping my eye on as we move forward throughout the rest of this season and the last part of the season. Because I think that their starting 5 that they got with Davion Mitchell, who I've been saying for weeks and months at this point for the Lakers to go get because they need guard defense. Then Davion Mitchell ends up going to the Heat for like a 2nd-round pick. Come on, LA. Come on. What are you doing? Davion Mitchell's one of the best on-ball defenders at the guard spot in the league. What are you doing? All they had to give up was a 2nd-round pick. Now he's in the starting lineup with the Miami Heat. He had 14 points last night. I think that is a huge addition that a lot of people aren't talking about, especially if they end up starting him, because he can take away the opposing team's point guard. He is one of the best defenders in the league, and he can shoot the ball at a decent level, enough to be able to stay out there on the court. So I like Davion. Obviously, he won a championship out here at Baylor and Waco, so I've been a fan of Davion Mitchell for a while now. But you put him at the 1, Tyler Hero at the 2, who was an all-star. Bam, who had 27 and 15 last night, which is a good sign because I just don't know why he doesn't shoot the ball. Kill L. Ware, I still don't know how to say his name, but he's a really good rookie. I liked it when they drafted him. And then you put Wiggins in there. That's a good starting 5, especially on the defensive end of the ball. They got a lot of guys that can play in the rotation as well. Duncan Robinson didn't play last night. I think he was sick. Terry Rozier didn't play. I think he was sick. Jamie Hawkins Jr. didn't play. So they still got a lot of rotation guys. But they were beating the Thunder for majority of the game. Thunder come out in the fourth quarter, go on a 24-0 run to start the fourth quarter. End up blowing out the Heat, 115-101. They outscored Miami in the fourth quarter, 32-8. Hey, man, the Thunder are going to be a problem. Once again, shout out to the Waco product, Kenrich Williams. Every time we talk about the Thunder, I'm going to shout out Kenrich, man. We in Waco. Might as well shout him out. Not a lot of guys in Waco that's even made it to the NBA. He's currently in the NBA right now, straight out of Waco, Texas, man. So I'm always going to shout him out on the show. But he played a big role last night. He had 14 points, hit 3 threes. But this Thunder team can play multiple guys. They can play different people multiple ways. They still don't have Chet Holmgren back. They come back against a tough Heat team and beat them. And Thunder, nobody wants to play these guys. I don't know if I'm going to pick them as my champs just yet. We'll see as we get towards the playoffs. But don't nobody want to play the Thunder. Shout out Quay, the only Thunder fan I've known for probably ever. I don't know any other Oklahoma City Thunder fan. Nobody wants to play the Thunder right now, man. This is one of the scariest teams. Should be the scariest team. If you're Boston, this is the team you should be scared of. If you're Cleveland and you somehow get past Boston, this is the team you should be scared of. If you're anybody in the West, you should be scared of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Able to beat anybody in the league. Look at some of these games tonight here, folks, before we get out of here. We're out of time here today. My Rockets getting ready to play against Golden State. I got Houston in this game. Golden State a 1.5-point favorite. Y'all tripping. Y'all just seen them lose last night. Houston on a 2-game winning streak. Still 34-20. Finna smack the Warriors. Dallas playing again in the back-to-back. I think everybody's playing in the back-to-back because everybody played last night. So everyone that's playing tonight played last night. Dallas and Miami. Another game I'll be tuning into. Interesting matchup. Not sure how much they're going to get out of Kyrie and some of those guys. I'm already seeing that Bam Adebayo is out. Andrew Wiggins is out. Kyrie Irving is out. Klay Thompson. This is why I told y'all don't make no bets, man. Y'all finna give free money to Prize Picks. Stay away from it. Most guys aren't playing tonight on TNT. Oklahoma City versus Timberwolves. Give me OKC in this game, even though I don't know how long their starters are going to play. But Rudy Gobert out, Mike Conley out, Anthony Edwards a game-time decision for the Timberwolves. Give me OKC, even if everybody was playing in that game. Those are some of the games coming on tonight. Also, USC versus UCLA for those women's basketball fans. I am a fan of college women's basketball. I say it all the time on this show. Juju Watkins, my favorite player. They're playing against the best team in the nation in UCLA. UCLA is a super tough team. That game at 9 o'clock tonight. I will not be watching some of these sorry NBA games that are on tonight after the Rockets get off. I'll be watching that UCLA versus USC. Folks, we're out of time here today. I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us here today on Centex Primetime. MCC Baseball this weekend, Friday and Saturday, right here on Centex Sports Network. We'll be back on Monday to talk about this sorry NBA All-Star game, to talk some more about the NFL news, people changing teams as we're getting ready for the NFL draft as well. And we got to talk more NBA news, folks. So we will see you guys then. Everybody have a great night.
Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency and your go-to source for all things audio and video. Is your church long overdue for audio and video upgrades? Call Lighthouse Streaming for a free consultation. Does your corporate or church event need audio or video production?